Hey guys, mulltiy here. Today we talk about the DPS rankings for week 3 of Season of Discovery of Gnomeregan or Gnomer, how many people call it. We have some shifts, for sure not big shifts from last week, and also we have some buffs and nerfs coming. So I think, first of all, I think the buffs and nerfs are not the best, because if you see now how the things are changing, then it's maybe not the best way to go. So let us hop here quick. These are the numbers for the past week. 95 percentile. This is how it was last week, and here we have the buffs and the nerfs for that are coming. What is here important is, or maybe most important, we have here a pretty hefty hunter nerf. I think it will be around 10% of that. We have here a little bit here we have here paladin something, rogue. I think the armor gets a little bit lowered for the bosses in Gnomeregan, and yeah, so this is what we will get. This is the numbers from this week, and we compare it to the numbers from back then. If we go hop over here, we still have with Frost Mage one spec that is kind of unplayable, but not unplayable in a bad way. And then we have this very big yeah, from, let me say, if you can see, there's maybe the ranged hunter that has a little step. So if we have something in CT, it would be the ranged hunter, Beastmaster, or I guess also marksman. At the moment, both kind of the same. And then we have this very big mid tier with a little bit the shaman and the priest, a little bit better specs maybe than the others, but in general I would say there is barely no difference between paladin, followed up by feral druid and moonkin, and they otherwise followed by maybe you could also make here the gap now, or should, yeah, let us do it here, and then we coming up with the rogue, arcane mage, warrior. Let us take this one. I don't care about the sign. Elemental shaman, enhancement shaman, and priest. Priest, you know, priest already got that treatment last week, as far as I know. Now melee hunter will get that treatment, and yeah, it's a pretty hard downfall. If you look over over the range of 2 weeks, there should be, yeah, it was already here a little bit higher, but you know, first week how it was, they were first or second as far as I know. How is it only 1 day? If you only go for 1 day, that's not a big change. Okay. So yeah, but still here you can see how close Shadow 1 week ago, over the range of 2 weeks, which included the first week, you can already see how high Shadow Priest here was. They are still, if you want to say, on the 4th place, but the gap now to the 3 best specs, with we have with Fire Warlock, Melee Hunter, and Mage, is now pretty big. So we have 3 very good specs, and for me it's very strange. If you see now those numbers, why is Melee Hunter getting that nerf? If they would nerf all of them, I would say okay, is understandable. And to be honest, I play Warlock mostly at the moment. I only play PvP, but yeah, I play Warlock, so if those 3 specs would get a little nerf, I would understand it, but not if only Melee Hunter gets hit it so hard. In that case, for me, that's a little bit, makes not that much sense, just to make that clear. But I also have to say, for me, Season of Discovery, or SOD, or whatever you want to call it, or SOD, is already losing a little bit of the flavor of Classic. Why? Because Classic is an awesome game, or maybe even the best game ever, arguable. and it was not perfectly balanced. And I think that should be not a goal of the devs, to perfectly balance the game, because really, if you bring these 3 outlier in shape, and I think they will bring Hunter with this 10% nerf to shape, and also Warlock and Mage, then to be honest, then it doesn't matter what you play, everything is the same. And I think in Classic, it's not about everything is the same, it's about this class makes maybe 10% less damage, but he brings this buff and he can rest people, or whatever, you know. It's like the differences of the classes, the class fantasy should also matter, especially in Classic. We are not here in retail where everything needs to be the same because is esports ready or whatever. We still talk here about Classic, and I think it loses a lot of charm when you don't see differences. And I have to be honest, do I like to get killed by a melee hunter at the moment? Definitely not. Their damage is a little bit brainless, but in general I think it's pretty good if every phase has its outliers. And we already saw now in the last phase, Warrior, Rogue, pretty on the top together with Hunter. Now it's Mage, Warlock, Priest, you know, had their shining time. Still Hunter, but in that case it's melee Hunter. And now they want to bring everything back in shape. They want to nerf the armor so that Warrior and Rogues are again rising. So everything is kind of the same, and that is a little bit for me not where Season of Discovery should go. Sure, it's only my personal opinion, so it's not a fact, it's my opinion. But I think it's a bad way to try to balance the game perfectly. Also, world buffs are mattering, and then later on the world buffs are even mattering more. They benefit melee, so one class has to be on top. If it's at the end Warrior, it would be Warrior, and that's fine. Then maybe other things or other classes bring other things. But for me, it's not a good way to bring everything on the same level. At the moment, we have these 3 positive outlier, we have 1, 2 negative outliers, but in general, I think PvE-wise, the game is pretty good balance. And yeah, but for example, Balance Druid got affected by this PvP nerf. I also think the Shadow Priest nerf was more a PvP nerf, but you see how this affects them in the PvE environment. So yeah, that's it. That's the whole damage. If we go to damage to bosses, it changes a little bit like this. As you can see, Hunter is then slightly on top. DPS Priest loses a little bit to here, but in general it looks kind of the same. That's why I put here damage in general. Why? Because I think at the moment the people yeah, also going for speed. That for speed run is damage overall important. A little bit AoE more and single targets or whatever. Yeah, this is how it looks at the moment, guys. No big changes, but yeah, we have now an S tier, not an S plus tier anymore. As you can see here, we don't have an S plus tier anymore. We have still this very wide range of a lot of playable specs, with sadly Frost Mage still not good, but Mage has Fire Mage and Arcane Mage, which are both doing pretty good. So every mage can play a spec that he usually likes. That's it for today, guys. See you next week. Bye bye.